Hello, welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Origins. In this episode I'm going to be looking at Treecko, Grovyle and Sceptile. Treecko's Japanese name is Kimori, it is the wood gecko Pokemon, it is number 252 in the National Dex, it stands at 0.5 meters tall or 1 foot 8 inches, and weighs 5 kilograms or 11 pounds. As I've mentioned, it is a grass starter Pokemon from home. Treecko is a small green bipedal reptilian Pokemon, which hands and feet each have 3 digits on. It also has a large dark green tail with 2 separate lobes on it, which kind of allow it to split slightly. Its stomach and its throat are red, and it has yellow eyes with long, narrow pupils. It was based off of a gecko or a lizard, more specifically the leaf-tailed gecko. There are no gender differences between Treecko, and Treecko's shiny form is a darker green colour with a red tail. Pokedex entries tell us that the soles of its feet are covered in tiny spikes which allow it to walk on walls and ceilings. The name Kimori is a combination of Ki meaning tree, Mori meaning forest, and Yamori meaning gecko. Treecko is a combination of tree and gecko. Moving now on to look at Grovyle, its Japanese name is Sceptile, it is also the wood gecko Pokemon, and is number 253 in the National Dex, standing at 0.9 meters or 2 foot 11 inches, and weighs 21.6 kilograms or 47.6 pounds. A Treecko will evolve into a Grovyle starting at level 16. Grovyle have a more dinosaur-like appearance than Treecko. Its hands now have 2 claws on it, and its feet are slightly more bird-like. It also now has 2 tails that are have a more leafy appearance. It also has 3 long leaves on its wrists, and a large leaf on the top of its head. Its underside is also red. It resembles the dinosaur known as Dromaeosaurus, and it is believed this dinosaur had feathers much like Grovyle's leaves. It could also be based on another dinosaur, and I'll put the name of that on screen now because I am not going to be able to say that. There are no gender differences between Grovyle, and Grovyle's shiny form now has a pale green body with red leaves. Pokedex entries can tell us that Grovyle live in dense jungles and can leap from branch to branch when they are closing in on their prey. The name Sceptile is a combination of jungle or Ju meaning tree and reptile, referring to its kind of reptilian look, and also raptor, referring to raptors being a type of dinosaur. Grovyle is a combination of grove, meaning a group of trees, and reptile. Vile may also refer to vine or vial. Finally, now looking at Sceptile, its Japanese name is Jucane, it is a forest Pokemon. It is number 254 in the National Dex, and stands at 1.7 meters tall or 5 foot 7 inches, and weighs 52.5 kilograms or 115.1 pounds. A Grovyle will evolve into a Sceptile starting at level 36. Sceptile is again based on a lizard, and has a somewhat long neck with 2 crests on its head. Its eyes are semicircular in shape, and have yellow scleras and red rims. There is also a belt of red coloration on its waist, and it has 6 yellow nodules on its back, and a palm tree branch-like tail. It has long arms with 2 thick, sharp, powerful elongated leaves and 3 claws on each. It is based on the dinosaur known as the Dilophosaurus, and the orbs on its back may be based on the fact that many leguminous plants have nitrogen stored in nodes in their roots. There are no gender differences between Sceptile, and Sceptile's shiny form is a darker green with red nodules instead, and Pokedex entries tell us that Sceptile's leaves on its arms can slice down thick trees. The name Jucane derives from Jukai, meaning abundant leafage, and Sceptile is a combination of reptile and Sceptridium, referring to its fern-like tail. It may also be a combination of reptile and Sectile, meaning sharp blades, referring to its leaves, and may also come from Scepter, from the title King of the Forest, or Scissors, meaning blades, referring to the blades on its arms. Now you can see the size comparison for these 3 Pokemon on the screen. As you can see, Sceptile is pretty big, but not about the same size as Migroni, to be honest. Whereas Grovyle and Treecko are slightly smaller, but still pretty large. And finally, looking at some sprite comparisons here for Treecko, we only have Generation 3, 4 and 5 to look at now, so there's not much really here to say. As you can see, it started off very similar, and then kind of got more of a dynamic pose in Generation 4. And then went back to its original pose in Generation 5. Now the same pretty much goes here for Grovyle. In Generation 3 it started off with a running pose, Diamond it kind of opened itself out a bit more, and then, well, in Generation 5 it's actually got a completely different pose, where it's just stood, it's not running at all. And finally Sceptile. In Generation 3 it was just looking straight at the camera pretty much, and whereas in Generation 4 it kind of got more of an action pose, and Generation 5 it's now more of a stance ready to fight.